Is there a perfect storm brewing for the housing market? It doesn't matter what I say or what a lot of reports says, but a large percentage of the people feel that the current situation is not sustainable. So there has to be some kind of correction, or should I dare say, a housing crash. Let's look at what happened in the historic 2008 market crash. 1 out of every 54 homes were foreclosed upon, and home prices dropped 20, 30, 50% depending on what area you are looking at. So if you are prepared for the next housing crash or housing bubble, it'll make it a lot easier should you decide to buy or even thinking about selling and then buying. And believe it or not, even in the recession, even in that crash, lots of buyers were buying homes. Not only investors with a lot of cash, but regular people, regular buyers were buying homes. So the number one thing you can do to prepare for a housing correction is to have cash on hand. If you are going to be waiting to buy when the market drops, might as well start collecting cash, add to your down payment. And if you're going to be all cash buyer, have the money ready. We are not sure how low the prices will go. Back in 2008, home prices were averaging anywhere from $200,000 to $250,000. Now the median home price is $430,000. So how low will they go? So the more cash you have in reserve, the better off you are. So this is a great time to start preparing and be aware of what it's going to take. In the post-pandemic years and up till now, 2024, there was a lot of people who bought cash. Up to 35% of all the buyers in USA were cash buyers. Back in 2011, as you can see over here, 1 in 3 homes was an all cash buyer. That is 33% in 2011 were all cash buyers. So when the market does go down, you will have competition. But the good news is, even in the hot market in 2022, 2023, and 2021, at least 30 to 40% were all cash buyers. So the number of homes will be dropping for sale. A lot of the investors are buying, but did you know that most of the rental properties and homes are owned by individual buyers like you and me? So there's a lot of people gonna buy single family homes, single investors or single buyers, not corporate buyers. As most people think, the percentage of corporate buyers is low compared to the regular average buyers. So the question is, how much will the prices drop? Well, as you know, the median home price in 2023, quarter 3, was $431,000. That's the national median average. In 2008, the median home price was approximately $200,000. In 2007, it was $217,000. So will it drop to 2008 levels, or will it drop to 2019 levels where it was approximately $373,000, the average median home sales price? So how much will they drop? 10%, 20%, 30%. Regardless of what they drop, they're not going to be at levels of 2008. So the more cash you have, the more down payment you can put, the better chance of you buying a house at that time. So the bottom line is, have as much cash as possible in the bank. And you may want to start saving like a maniac. Every market is different. So if you can comment below to see what do you expect to happen in your neighborhood or in your local market, we sure like to find out. The second thing that you're going to have to do or prepare for is when that market comes, and if it comes, you're going to have to be very patient with the buying process. There's going to be a lot of competition, but there might be lender-owned properties or REOs, real estate-owned properties. That means they are lender-owned properties. And there will be short sales like in 2006 to 2011. There was a lot of short sales. Basically, a short sale is when, let's say you bought a house for $430,000, which is a national average. And let's say the market drops 20, 30, 40%. Let's say your loan amount was $400,000. You paid $430,000, but all of a sudden the market dropped and the value of your home is $350,000. Your loan amount is $400,000. When you go try to sell, you're going to have closing costs, notary fees, all the cost involved. So on top of the home loan that you're underwater, you're going to have additional cost. So when you sell the home, you will not have enough cash. You will not have enough equity to close the deal. So the lenders or the realtors and the brokers will have to go to the bank and negotiate with them to do a short sale. We have to convince the bank that, hey, the seller cannot afford to pay anymore. He lost his job. He has a big financial situation or a big medical situation. He's unable to pay the loan, so he has to sell the house. He only has the market value is $350 and the loan is $400,000. So he's already $50,000 short plus closing cost. And we have to negotiate with the lender or the bank to take that deal. If they take the deal, well and good. If they don't, then it processes towards a foreclosure. But this may take 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, up to 6 months to a year. So you're going to have to be very patient. So if it doesn't go through, you may have to try another one and another one. So patience will be the key during that market. At the same time, you may write an offer on lender-owned properties or the bank foreclosures, but remember, 30 to 40% historically were cash buyers. So when you write an offer with 10% down or 20% down and an all cash buyer comes in, they will get the preference. But the good news is you still have a 70% chance of getting that deal. So if you don't get the first time, the second time, or the fourth time, you may have to keep writing offers to get it. And sometimes you may have to let go of the location or the floor plan or the type of house you want and be prepared for not only being patient, but being flexible to buy that house. The other thing you will have to consider is once you save the money and you are able to buy a short sale or a bank-owned property, usually those properties are not in very good condition. For 6 months to a year, maybe even 2 years, the sellers cannot keep up with the property or maintenance, etc. So it may not be in the great condition. You're probably going to buy what we call a cosmetic fixer or a fixer where the house is going to need some work, paint or carpet or updating or whatever. So you're going to have more money for repairs. First, you are going to need money for your down payment or all cash. Secondly, once you find the property, you may need additional funds. Maybe the first month you're fixing it up, so you have a mortgage payment, but you're not staying in there, so you may have a rental payment as well. But on top of that, you're going to have to need money to do updates and remodels. So be prepared again for more cash. The other thing you're going to need is you have perseverance. You're going to have grit. You're going to have to be patient. In the housing market, in the foreclosure housing market, or when there's a housing crash, a lot of people want to buy those properties. So when you write an offer, you may not get the first property or the second property or the type of property that you want in the area you want. So you may have to write 1 or 2 or 3 offers because the inventory is low right now. And who knows what's going to happen with the inventory at that time. Let's look at some numbers. In 2021, there were almost 6.12 million homes sold. That's a lot of homes. In 2023, only 4.3 million homes sold. So there's less choices. When the market crashes, and if it crashes, then you might have 3.5 million homes sold, or you might have 5.5 million homes sold. We don't know how many homes are going to be sold or how many they're going to be available. And if it's a good deal, a lot of the buyers will go after those homes just like you are. So when you write an offer, if you don't get it, write another offer. If you don't get it, have perseverance, have patience, and have the grit and the courage to keep on going because you're going to need it. A lot of other people will be buying and taking advantage of that market. I know a lot of buyers are waiting and waiting and waiting for the market to crash. Let's see what happens. Now, I'm not saying there's going to be a housing market crash, but what do I think of the housing prices, where it's going to be? Personally, I don't think there's going to be a housing crash, at least not in the 1 to 2 years. 2 reasons that I have. One is that there's a lot of equity in the homes. People have built up a lot of equity. 30, 40, 50% of the people have equity in there. The second reason is there's a very high supply and demand issue. There's a shortage of inventory. We have had that shortage since 2019. And that shortage does not seem to get any better. So until we get to a high number of homes for sale, which may take a year, 2 years, 3 years to get there, and until we deplete that equity, I don't see a foreclosure coming. So if you are in the field of buying, be patient, have lots of cash, and have lots of perseverance. Please watch this video, which YouTube is suggesting that you may like.